She doesn't remember what you did. She remembers how you made her feel when you were inside her. There's a moment, quiet, raw, unfiltered, when two bodies come together and everything else fades. And in that moment, most men think they're making an impression by what they do. But the truth is, she's not logging the physical. She's recording something deeper. See, most guys go into intimacy like it's a performance. They're trying to prove something, trying to dominate, or worse, trying to please without even knowing what actually matters to her. What's left after all that? A moment that vanishes as fast as it came. Here's the reality. A woman doesn't want just your body. She wants your presence, your intent, and your energy. And when you give her that, she feels it in her skin, her breath, and her memory. That's when she remembers you. That's when she feels you long after it's over. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what's happening inside her, emotionally, psychologically, energetically, when she allows you that deep access. And more importantly, we'll talk about how to show up like the man who doesn't just enter her body, but leaves a lasting imprint on her soul. Let's get into it. Number 1. She needs to feel safe first. Before anything else, before her body opens up to you, her mind has to feel safe. Not physically safe, that's a given. What she needs is emotional safety, the kind that makes her lower her guard, quiet her thoughts, and let herself be fully seen. Most men misunderstand this. They think if she agrees to be intimate, then she's already in. But that's not how it works. For many women, intimacy is a layered experience. It's not just physical, it's psychological, it's emotional. And the door to that part of her doesn't open unless she feels grounded with you. Take Mark, 45, recently divorced after 18 years of marriage. He started dating again, and things moved fast with a woman named Julia, 42, a nurse he met at a wine tasting. They had chemistry, no doubt. But after their second night together, she pulled away. No calls, no texts, just gone. What happened? Julia didn't feel emotionally safe. Mark was kind, charming, respectful, but he was still carrying the weight of his divorce. He avoided emotional conversations, laughed off anything serious, and acted like nothing ever touched him. What he thought made him strong actually made her feel alone. Emotional safety isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. When you're with her, are you fully there? Are you listening, not just nodding along? Do you let her speak without trying to fix her? Do you create space, or do you just fill it with noise? Women feel this stuff instantly. They don't need words, your energy tells the truth. If you're guarded, rushed, distracted, or pretending to be someone you're not, she senses it. And once that switch flips, she might still go through the motions, but she's already gone. On the other hand, when she feels seen and accepted, not judged, not pushed, her body naturally relaxes. Her nervous system regulates, her breathing deepens, her mind slows down. That's when she can actually feel pleasure, not just react to stimulation. And here's the beautiful part. Once that emotional safety is in place, everything changes. She stops performing. She stops comparing. She stops holding back. She becomes present too. That's when the intimacy stops being mechanical and starts being unforgettable. Let me give you the opposite of Mark's story. Jason, 39, a mechanic from Ohio, went through something different. After years of casual flings, he met Alicia, 41, at a local running group. Things moved slowly, and not by accident. Jason was intentional. He asked real questions. He didn't try to impress. He just showed up. The first time they were together, he didn't rush. He paid attention. He let moments be quiet. He noticed when she tensed and slowed down. He didn't see sex as a goal. He saw it as a reflection of the connection they had already built. And she felt it. Weeks later, she told him, "You made me feel like I could be fully myself." That's what emotional safety does. Stoicism teaches that we must first master ourselves before we try to connect with others. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. When your mind is calm, your intentions clear, and your presence grounded, you create the conditions for someone else to let their guard down." And when a woman lets her guard down, when she feels safe in your energy, she gives more than just her body. She gives trust, openness, feeling. That's the kind of experience that leaves a mark not just on her, but on you too. If this spoke to you, drop a comment below. I choose presence. Most men never learn what truly stays with her long after it's over, but once you see it, you can never unsee it. What's coming next will shift how you think about connection itself. Let's keep going. Number 2, be fully there or don't bother. You can touch her body without ever reaching her. You can be inches away and still feel like you're not even in the room, and she knows it. Presence isn't about being physically close. It's about being emotionally available, mentally clear, and spiritually grounded. It's about being all the way in, not just in the act, but in the moment. This is where most men fail, not because they don't care, but because they're distracted. Their mind is still chasing approval, comparing past lovers, performing, analyzing, worrying. She can feel that. Every second you're not really there, she feels it. And every second you are, she melts into it. There's a moment during intimacy where nothing is being said, but everything is being communicated. Your breath, your rhythm, your attention, the way your hands move without hesitation or neediness. The space between your words, that's where real presence lives. And that's where she meets the real you. But presence is rare, because it requires something men are taught to suppress: stillness, focus, vulnerability. You can't fake presence. You either are or you aren't. And she knows the difference, sometimes before you even touch her. Presence also means you're not goal-oriented. You're not there to win. You're not there to prove anything. You're not there to reach a finish line. You're there because you chose to be there, with her, in that moment, for no other reason than that nothing else matters more. That kind of presence makes her feel like she's the only woman in the world. And ironically, it's also what makes you more of a man in her eyes. The Stoics knew this long before modern psychology did. Seneca wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." When your mind is scattered, when you're divided between desire, anxiety, and expectation, you're not in life. You're just passing through it. The same applies in the bedroom. If you're everywhere else, she feels like you're nowhere with her. When a woman feels you're fully with her, everything slows down. Her guard drops, her breath synchronizes with yours, and something deeper opens, something far beyond the physical. But to get there, you have to be brave enough to stop performing, to stop calculating, to stop looking for the reaction, and just exist in the connection. That's terrifying for a lot of men, because it exposes them, but it's also what changes everything. The beauty of Stoicism is that it trains you for this, not in how to seduce, but in how to be still, present, grounded. Epictetus taught that we don't control external events, only our responses. In moments of intimacy, presence is the ultimate response. You don't control her emotions, her body, her rhythm, but you control how you show up and how deep your attention goes. So, what does it mean to be fully there? It means you're not thinking about the past or the future. You're not worrying about whether she likes you more or less. You're not judging your performance. You're not in your head. You're in the room. You're in the moment. You're in your breath. You're in her energy. And because of that, she feels safe, seen, desired not just as a body, but as a person. And when she feels that, she gives you something no technique in the world can unlock: her real self. She'll never ask for this directly. She might not even know how to put it into words. But when she feels it, she knows. And so do you. If you've ever held back your full attention or distracted yourself right when it mattered most, drop a comment below. I choose presence. There's something else she responds to, something that happens after the moment ends. Not many men understand it, but those who do, they never go unnoticed. Let's keep going. Number 3. She wants to be chosen. Every woman wants to feel desired, but more than that, she wants to feel chosen, not selected by default, not picked because she was convenient. Chosen, with intention, with clarity, with no one else in mind. That's where most men unknowingly mess it up. They act like they're interested, they say the right things, they even show up physically, but emotionally, they're still scanning the horizon, still wondering if something better is coming, still hedging their bets. And women feel that. You can't fake intention. You either want her or you want someone. And that difference changes everything. Let me tell you about David and Claire. David is 51. He owns a landscaping business in Nevada. Built it from the ground up, divorced for 4 years, emotionally guarded, but genuinely kind. Claire is 47, a high school counselor who spent the last decade putting everyone else's needs first. Her students, her kids, her ex-husband. When they met, sparks weren't the problem. The problem was hesitation. David liked her. A lot. But he treated her like she was one of several options. He'd disappear for days, respond to texts without energy, show interest, but just enough to keep her hanging. Claire pulled away. Not because he wasn't good enough, but because he didn't make her feel chosen. See, when a woman shares herself intimately, she's not just offering her body. She's offering her time, her energy, her emotional investment. She wants to feel like she matters to you, not just in bed, not just in that moment, but in a deeper sense. She wants to know that when you're with her, you're with her. David got it too late. Months later, he told a friend, "I didn't realize how much I was making her feel like a placeholder." Here's the truth. A woman can handle rejection. What she can't handle is feeling like she's an afterthought. When you touch her with clarity, when your presence says, "You're the one I want," she doesn't just relax, she glows. She feels powerful, feminine, grounded. Because your intention gives her permission to open. It tells her she's not one of many, she's the one right now, and that right now means everything. This is especially true for women in their late 32nd, 42nd, 52nd. They've been through things. They're not impressed by empty words. They don't need fireworks. They need real. And real looks like a man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to let her know. And let's be clear, choosing her doesn't mean being needy. It's not about begging or chasing. It's about presence backed by decision. The Stoics would call it inner conviction. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." That applies here. When you're brave enough to choose fully, honestly, and with presence, you free her from uncertainty. You give her space to feel safe, to let go, and to give back. When she doesn't feel chosen, everything becomes performance. She starts wondering what you're thinking. She holds back. She stops trusting the connection. And even if the night goes well, it doesn't stay with her. But when she feels chosen, not because you had no better options, but because you see her, she remembers. Because now the moment means something. It's not just two bodies. It's a man who stood still in his truth and picked her with no apology. So think about it. Have you ever made a woman feel like she was just there? Like she could have been anyone? Or worse, like you weren't even sure if you wanted her there at all? If so, it's time to change that. If this hits something real for you, drop a comment below. I choose her. Sometimes what she feels during the act isn't even the most powerful part. It's what lingers after, and in the next part, you'll see why that matters more than you think. Let's keep going. Number 4, what she feels after you're done. The moment you think it's over is often the moment she starts to feel the truth. After the intensity fades, after the last breath, after your body relaxes, that's when her mind wakes up. She starts to feel what just happened, not the physical part, the emotional imprint. the energetic message. And whether you realize it or not, that message is crystal clear. Some men check out right after. They roll over, grab their phone, go silent. They think the moment is finished. But for her, that moment is just beginning. Her body may be still, but her nervous system is wide open. She's raw, she's vulnerable. She's waiting not for words, but for how you choose to exist in the space after. That space speaks louder than anything you said before. It tells her whether it was real, whether she was held or used, whether you connected or just passed through. And here's the hard truth. If she feels alone after you're done, she'll never fully come back the next time. What happens after is not about performance. It's about presence. You don't have to say the perfect thing or act like some emotional guru. You just have to be there. Still, present, human. You have to respect the gravity of what just happened, not from fear, but from awareness. There's a term in Stoicism called euthymia, which means a state of inner peace, confidence, and clarity, especially after making a choice aligned with your values. Seneca called it the path of walking in harmony with your nature, and that's exactly what this moment demands. Harmony, stillness, a man who isn't trying to escape the emotional weight of connection, but is grounded enough to stay in it. That's what she's feeling for. She's not looking for dramatic declarations. She's not testing you. She's feeling whether your energy is consistent before, during, and after. That consistency builds trust, and trust builds the kind of intimacy that lasts longer than any physical pleasure ever could. The post-intimacy moment is where so many men lose her, not because they did something wrong, but because they did nothing. They vanished mentally, emotionally, energetically, and that silence screams. But when you stay present without forcing anything, without trying to fix or escape, you give her something most men never do: emotional closure. That closure isn't about ending anything. It's about completing the moment with care instead of abandonment. She feels that. She stores that. She attaches meaning to that. That's why the next time matters more than the first time. If she remembers being held, not just touched, she'll feel safe going deeper with you. But if she remembers silence, distance, distraction, that will sit with her longer than any compliment ever could. You might be thinking, but isn't this too much? It's just enough. If you want surface-level connection, skip this. But if you want the kind of intimacy that lingers in her memory, in her body, long after the night ends, then you need to show her you don't disappear once you're satisfied. Because real connection doesn't end when it's over. It breathes in the quiet, it anchors in your stillness, and it deepens in what you do after the doing is done. So ask yourself, how do you show up in that space? If you're the kind of man who's ready to stay grounded even after the climax, drop a comment below. I stay present. There's a part of her that responds to something even deeper than your energy, something rooted in how you see her. You'll want to see what's coming next. Let's keep going. Number 5. Your energy speaks louder than words. You can say all the right things. You can compliment her, touch her softly, even go through every step the way a so-called perfect lover should. But if your energy doesn't match your words, she'll feel it. She might not always explain it, but deep down, she'll know. That's because women don't respond to words alone. They respond to energy, what you're feeling, what you're hiding, what you're carrying into the room with you. It's all there, in your body, in your breath, in the tension you don't even realize you're holding. Take Tom and Erica. Tom is 52, divorced, works in IT, and recently started seeing Erica, 48, a yoga instructor with 2 grown kids. On paper, he's everything women say they want: kind, successful, attentive. He read the books, watched the videos, and memorized every how-to guide about what women want. But something was missing. Erica felt uneasy around him, even when he was doing everything right. He'd compliment her, ask questions, show up with flowers, even pause during intimacy to check in, but it all felt off, forced, too polished, too controlled. Tom's energy didn't match the moment. Underneath all the gestures, he was anxious, afraid of rejection, desperate to be enough. And that energy, that nervous, uncertain, approval-seeking energy, was screaming louder than anything he said. Erica didn't reject his words. She rejected how they felt. This is where most men get lost. They think connection is about saying or doing the right thing, but connection is about being. It's your tone, your stillness, your confidence. It's the way you take up space without needing to be loud. It's the calm in your voice when everything is quiet. And most of all, it's the unspoken message you send without even trying. I know who I am. That's the energy she feels. Your energy is the emotional atmosphere you create. You either bring chaos or calm, insecurity or certainty, fear or grounded presence. And she doesn't respond to the act, she responds to the atmosphere. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Your thoughts, your beliefs, your intentions, they're always leaking into the room. You don't need to announce them. She already knows. Here's what Tom eventually learned, and what changed everything. Instead of overthinking every move, he started working on his state before he ever saw Erica. He slowed down his breathing, stopped rushing to please, checked in with himself, got honest about his insecurities, and instead of hiding them, he showed up as someone aware of them, not ruled by them. The next time they were together, he said less, but he was more present. He didn't try to impress. He just looked at her, really looked, held her with his eyes before ever touching her. That night, everything changed. And the funny thing, he didn't do anything new. He just brought different energy. That's what she remembers. Not the checklist, not the lines, not the techniques, the feeling, the atmosphere, the energy in the room when you walked in and stayed. So if you're wondering why your connections feel shallow or why women pull away even when you're trying your best, stop focusing on what you're saying. Start tuning into what you're carrying, because she already is. If that hit home, drop a comment below. I lead energy. What happens when she feels your energy before you even speak? That's just the beginning. What she does next might surprise you. Let's keep going. Number 6. Real control makes her trust you. Let's get one thing clear. Control isn't about dominance. It's not about being louder, stronger, or more aggressive. Real control, the kind that makes a woman trust you, is about inner mastery. It's about being steady when things get intense, calm when things get chaotic, focused when things get emotional. Because when you're with her in a vulnerable moment, she's not just watching what you do, she's feeling how you handle yourself. And that, more than anything, tells her if she can let go. Most men think they need to take control in the bedroom. But the truth is, women only surrender to men who've clearly shown they can hold that responsibility not by force, but by grounded energy. The kind of energy that doesn't react, that doesn't crumble under pressure, that doesn't need to prove anything. That's real control, and she senses it immediately. From your pace, your breathing, your ability to stay present, even when things get heated or emotional. If your energy is frantic or insecure, she won't trust you. Not because you're a bad person, but because she doesn't feel safe surrendering into a space you can't hold. This is where Stoicism becomes your superpower. One of the most powerful lines from Epictetus says, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You want her to relax? Then show her that you're not ruled by impulse, fear, or ego. Show her that you can lead with clarity, not control with force. Because here's the truth, she doesn't want to control the moment. She wants to trust that you've got it. Real control is subtle. It's in how you hold eye contact without tension, how you guide her body without hesitation, how you stay emotionally steady even when things get vulnerable. It's your ability to be dominant in spirit, not in behavior. Too many men confuse control with performance. They try to put on a show, be alpha, go harder, move faster, talk dirtier. But none of that matters if your internal world is unstable. If you're doing it to impress, she feels that. If you're doing it to prove something, she feels that too. But if you move with quiet confidence, not to overpower her, but to hold the space, she will follow, willingly, eagerly. That's the surrender she's waiting for. And again, this isn't about perfection. It's about presence under pressure. It's about showing her that no matter how deep things go, you don't disappear. You don't get lost in the moment. You lead through it from the inside out. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In intimacy, your mind is your power. And when she sees that you're strong, not because you dominate her, but because you control yourself, she trusts you more, opens more, feels more, because she's not just giving you her body, she's giving you access to the most vulnerable parts of her. If your energy can't hold that, she'll protect herself. But if it can, she'll show you things no performance ever will. So the next time you're with her, don't just think about what you're doing, feel how you're being. Slow your breath, own the moment, ground yourself, and lead from that still, centered place inside you. That's the kind of control she trusts. If you've ever felt the difference between pushing and holding, and you know which one truly connects, drop a comment below. I lead calm. There's another level of connection she opens up to when she feels truly seen, not just desired. And that's exactly where we're going next. Let's keep going. Number 7. She opens to the man who sees her. A woman doesn't fully open to the man who touches her body. She opens to the man who sees her soul. Not with judgment, not with expectation, but with presence. And here's the part most men miss. You can be next to her, inside her, talking to her, and still not see her. She can feel when you're looking through her instead of into her. She knows the difference between attention and intention. Let me give you a story that makes this real. Kevin is 46, works as a project manager in Dallas. Successful, decent guy. After a long marriage ended, he got back into dating and met Simone, 43, an interior designer and single mother of 2. Things were going well. They had chemistry. They laughed a lot. They had great conversations. But when things became physical, Simone began to pull away. Kevin was confused. He wasn't pushy. He was respectful. But something was missing, something he couldn't name. Simone later told him, "You made me feel wanted, but not seen." Kevin had been so focused on saying the right things, doing the right things, and being a gentleman, that he forgot to slow down and actually see who Simone was, what she needed, what she was feeling in that moment. See, being seen isn't about compliments or flattery. It's about emotional presence. It's when a man pays close attention to how her energy shifts, the way she hesitates before speaking, the way her eyes change when she's holding something back. It's knowing when to lean in and when to give space, when to ask, and when to just listen. That's the man she opens to, the one who notices her. You want to know how deep a woman can go with you? Look at how deeply you're willing to witness her, not analyze her, not fix her, not guide her to what you want, but meet her exactly where she is, emotionally, energetically, fully. This takes a level of stillness most men aren't used to. It requires that you stop performing, that you let go of needing her to see you a certain way and start seeing her for real, not as an idea, not as a reward, not as a checklist, as a person. When you do that, when you see her without trying to get anything, something powerful happens. She lets her guard down, her breathing shifts, her body softens, and not just physically, emotionally. She begins to trust, she begins to surrender, because finally, someone is seeing what's underneath. This is what real intimacy is built on. Not tricks, not tactics, not what you say, but what you notice. And here's where Stoicism comes in. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change. For I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed. Apply that to connection. If you're open enough to let go of assumptions, to look at her without a story in your head, you create the space for truth to show up. And that's the space she's been waiting for. When a woman feels seen, she stops trying to impress, she stops pretending, she stops protecting. And what comes next isn't just intimacy, it's transformation. So here's the question. Have you been seeing the women in your life? Or have you just been showing up, hoping they'll see you? If this made you stop and think, drop a comment below. I see her. There's something else she craves. Something deeper than attention or attraction. Something most men overlook, but the right one knows how to give. Let's keep going. Number 8. Real intimacy isn't about sex. Let's be honest, most men were never taught what real intimacy actually is. They were taught to chase the act, to perform, to achieve. And in that mindset, sex becomes a finish line instead of a doorway. But here's the truth. Real intimacy has almost nothing to do with sex. It's not the positions, it's not the technique, it's not about how long it lasts or how many times you've done it. It's about how deeply you connect through it, or even without it. A woman can have sex and still feel untouched, and she can lie in complete silence with a man, fully clothed, and feel completely held. That's the difference between performance and presence. That's the difference between release and resonance. And the part most men miss? She doesn't crave sex nearly as much as she craves intimacy, real intimacy, the kind that reaches beyond the skin and says, I'm here with you, not just taking from you. Stoicism teaches us to value what's beneath the surface. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The same principle applies in your connection with her. It's not what you do, it's how you're being while you do it. Are you aware of her emotions? Are you attuned to the moment? Or are you stuck in your head, trying to get it right? Intimacy means you're not trying to prove anything. You're not trying to get something. You're simply with her, with full attention, with patience, with nothing to prove and nowhere else to be. That's what allows her to soften, to feel safe, to trust. And here's the paradox. When you stop trying to get sex, deeper intimacy often follows, because now she's not performing either. She's not wondering what you're chasing. She's not protecting herself. She's with you. And when two people meet in that space, that is intimacy. That's what stays. We live in a culture obsessed with sex, but terrified of intimacy, terrified of slowness, of stillness, of emotional nakedness. But that's what real strength looks like. A man who doesn't rush. A man who can hold eye contact for longer than a second. A man who can hear a woman breathe and not fill the silence with noise. When she feels that kind of presence, her body follows naturally. She doesn't have to be seduced. She's already there, because the connection is already alive. And this kind of intimacy doesn't end in the bedroom. It's how you speak to her. It's how you listen. It's how you notice the small things. How you remember something she said 2 weeks ago and bring it up in a moment that matters. It's in how you show her that she's seen, even when she's not performing for attention. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Now apply that to intimacy. It's not about the grand gestures. It's the energy behind your presence. The mindset that says, I don't need more, I just need real. When she senses that in you, she doesn't just open up. She relaxes into you. She lets herself be seen too. And now, something sacred begins, something no performance can ever replace. So if you've ever felt like sex left you both emptier instead of closer, maybe it's time to reframe what intimacy really means. If this speaks to something deeper in you, drop a comment below. I value depth. There's one final thing she remembers, something so few men give her, but when they do, it never leaves her. Let's keep going. Number 9. She remembers the feeling, not the act. You might remember what you did, what position, what move, what words you said, but she remembers something entirely different. She remembers how she felt. That's the truth most men overlook. The act itself fades, the memory of how long it lasted or how many times gone. But what never leaves her is the emotional imprint you left behind. Let's make that real. Mark is 54, owns a small contracting business in Ohio. He's been seeing Dana, a 50-year-old divorcee who works in finance. They've been dating for a few months. They get along, they laugh, and the physical side of things is good. Or so Mark thinks, until Dana tells him, "I don't really feel anything when we're together. It's like I'm going through the motions." That hit Mark hard. He tried to figure out what he was doing wrong. Was it the pace, the routine? But he missed the point. Dana wasn't talking about what he did. She was talking about how it all made her feel. The energy was flat. The presence was missing. She felt like just another woman in his life, not the woman in his moment. See, when a woman recalls being with a man, she doesn't think, "He lasted X minutes." She remembers the atmosphere, the emotion, the tension, the stillness, the way you looked at her, the sound of your breath, the way her body responded not just to your touch but to your being. That's the part that stays. It's not about being perfect. It's not about putting on some performance. It's about being all in, fully present, fully feeling, and letting her feel safe enough to drop into that space with you. And if you want a Stoic frame for this, remember what Marcus Aurelius said, "What we do now echoes in eternity." He wasn't talking about sex, but the idea holds. The way you show up in the moment, fully, sincerely, it echoes. It leaves a mark, not on her body, on her memory. When she thinks of you a week later, a month later, even years later, it's not the act she'll replay, it's the emotional imprint, the feeling of being wanted or rushed, seen or overlooked, held or handled. So the next time you're with a woman, ask yourself, what feeling am I leaving behind? If this speaks to something you've felt or learned the hard way, drop a comment below. I leave presence. And now, there's only one thing left. One final truth about what this all really means and what she truly wants you to know. Let's finish strong. Number 10. Your release is her reminder. There's a moment when everything builds the rhythm, the breath, the energy between you and then, release. For most men, that's the end. But for her, that might be when something deeper begins. Because what you release isn't just physical, it's symbolic, it's emotional, it's energetic. It tells her exactly who you are, whether you know it or not. She feels your truth in that moment. Is it rushed? Is it selfish? Is it empty? Or is it slow, deliberate, present, connected? She feels the story behind your release. This is something that goes far beyond biology. Yes, there's pleasure. But for a woman who's deeply tuned in, who's opened her body and heart to you, what you release is more than just desire. It's your presence, your emotional energy, your clarity, or your confusion. She absorbs that, whether you're fully there or checked out, whether you're holding her or escaping her, whether you're still connected or already gone. And that release becomes a reminder. It's the last impression you leave. It echoes long after the lights go off and the room goes silent, not because of what happened, but because of how you handled it. Were you proud, ashamed, tender, distant? Did you share the moment with her, or did you just finish and retreat? Real release, meaningful release, carries weight. It's not about control or stamina. It's about surrender with presence. It's about knowing that this moment is not just for you, it's with her. And that shift alone changes everything. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." But when a woman feels your absence in that most intimate, exposed second, her imagination takes over. She starts questioning, was I enough? Was this just physical? Is he still here, with me? Or was I simply a vessel for his escape? The opposite is also true. when she feels your energy still there, grounded, breathing with her, not pulling away emotionally even as your body comes down. She remembers that. She trusts that. You may not realize it, but your release communicates more than your words ever could. It tells her if you're safe. It tells her if you care. It tells her if you're still a man she can relax into, or someone she now needs to protect herself from. And maybe that's the most important part of all of this. Intimacy, connection, sex. It's not just about what happens to her, it's about what happens in her. And the man you are when everything comes undone, that's the version of you she never forgets. So don't treat your release like a finish line. Treat it like a message. Because in the end, it's not the act she carries. It's how you left her feeling when it was over. If you've ever realized how much that moment really says about you, drop a comment below. I release with presence. If you've made it this far, you already know this wasn't just about her. It's about you, the kind of man you choose to be, the presence you bring, the energy you carry into every intimate moment, and more importantly, every moment after. Because when a woman feels truly seen, safe, and chosen, something shifts. And the way you show up, how you breathe, how you lead, how you finish, tells her everything she needs to know about the man behind the touch. So if this video sparked something in you, if it made you pause and reflect on how you move through intimacy and connection, then this is just the beginning. Subscribe to the channel right now so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching.